Welcome to It's Just Different podcast, where we bring on people who have been where you're trying to go and or have helped countless athletes get there. Y'all, we're going to do something different for these next few episodes. We're going to take it back. Yes, we are taking it back to all of our episodes to give you the information that I know you missed. We're going to combine different sections, different topics together in one episode. So we're going to have the college coaches, different perspectives, giving you information to help you. We got college coaches, we got AAU coaches, we got professional players, we got our most watched episodes. We got a lot of different episodes to take it back so that you can get this information that I know you missed out on. So come with us on this journey as we take it back, because we got something special for our 50th episode. Now let's get to the episode. Did you know that I have 2 books? One called The Little Girl with Big Dreams. It's about an ambitious little girl who overcomes every no to say yes to a dream. The other is called Changing Lanes. It teaches you about the things that you learn from sport and how it translates to life after sport. Be sure to check these out at itsjustdifferentpod.com. Let's get to the episode. Most of basketball practice are in the evenings where you can't miss practice, and you also don't want to miss class. So that's why a lot of times you got labs. Labs are in the evening. So that's why it's very, very difficult to be able to do both. And I love to see when people are able to do both.
Yes. No, that just reminded me. I remember I have to leave practice early to get to a lab that was from 6 to 8 p.m. and Kay would work with me. She would work with me. She was always supportive. She never made me feel bad.
See, I love it, because you're not going to find too many coaches. That would be the time when they ready to throw it in your face. If you wasn't too big, they ready. Let you have a bad game. You going to hear it.
Exactly. She never threw it in my face. She always made me feel I have purpose, or it's what you're doing is good. She never threw that in my face. Yeah.
That's dope. I love it. Now, was there any times where you wanted to quit? You just wanted to be done with engineering, whether it was it was too hard, or this ain't what I want to do?
Yeah, the road wasn't easy. It wasn't. It really wasn't. Especially my junior year. That's when classes get extra hard. And I was like, man, do I really want to do this? Basketball's hard. Engineering's hard. Why can't I get a break, God? I feel like I'm suffering right now. Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot on my shoulders. And I was like, man, it's going to be worth it. I just kept reminding myself, okay, it's going to be worth it. Nothing that's worth having comes easy. I kept saying that nothing worth having comes easy. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get through it. Let me just get through this class. Let me get through this semester. Let me get through this week. And just being diligent, staying prayed up, having good people around you, having a good team, having good family, that all plays into it. But definitely I'll say God gets the glory in that whole process, because I couldn't have done it without him.
Sure. Now let me ask you, how do you feel going through all of that, and then now in this current moment, you're not doing anything engineering related? How does that make you feel? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, sometimes I think about it. I'm like, man, should I have done something a little bit easier? Because maybe the basketball would have been easier for me to handle, and it wouldn't have taken me such a long time to really feel good playing, because coming in as a freshman, your head is spinning, and then having to balance is on top of that was a bit much. And now that I'm not doing anything engineering related, it just kind of makes me feel like, oh, do I harbor regret? But then again, I'm like, I mean, everything is gonna happen the way it's gonna happen. I don't want to say I shouldn't have done it, because I know the strength that I have now. I feel like I can go through so much and not be phased. I feel like, the ebbs and flows of life don't really push me in one direction or the other. And I feel like I'm purpose filled because of it. I can get through anything in my life. I can accomplish hard things in my life because of what I've been through.
Because you've done it. It's okay, let's take a little bit off your plate a little bit, and let's take things in bits and pieces.
Right. And I think too, my son helped with that as well, because now, like, I don't just have the time to be sitting around and just go to the gym whenever I want. Like, I have somebody who needs me to take care of them. So it's like, okay, well, maybe I can get here, but then around this schedule, this is nap time, this is da 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 da. So it was kind of like I had to juggle those different things of like, okay, well, I can't go work out today because my son needs me to stay home because he's grumpy or whatever the case. So I think that was good for me too, just to have that balance.
Yeah. And when you went overseas, who was it? Just you and your son?
No, so my first year, my mom was able to come with me because of COVID and stuff like that. Her job was able to let her like go and yada yada yada. So I was thankful that she got to come with me because, like I said, my husband was on the boat or whatever, and so she got to come with me, and she kind of watched him while I would go to practice and things like that.
And then when you went back after,
The second year.
Say it again.
The second year?
Yes.
My husband came.
Got it. And is that currently where you at now? Like these whole different, I'm still like trying to put.
Nah, so I went. So the first year I went to Sweden.
Yep.
And then I came back a second year.
To Sweden.
So I went back. I went back to Sweden the second year. So I loved it, and we had to win a championship or whatever the case may be. And then then this past summer I went to Mexico, and now I'm in Turkey. So I had 2 years.
Got it. And your husband has been with you throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love it. Now, being at Turkey, you said that's like the, whatever you want to call it, highest league or whatever you want to call it.
One of the highest.
One of the highest leagues. I'm assuming competition is better. Like, what is that like schedule like? Are y'all currently like, what is your schedule currently?
Actually, our schedule is not too crazy. We have a practice usually around like 12:30, and it lasts for maybe like 2 hours, and then I'm free the rest of the day.
And no, you're not the only American, are you?
No. So it's me, Shatori, Vivi, and then we have a Swedish girl, Natalie.
Listen, I just know.
Three Americans.
I know me. I could not do the overseas life. I just couldn't. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna eat. Listen, I don't know what I'm gonna eat. You don't speak English, like it's just not gonna work for me. I can't Google Translate.
You learn to adjust, and honestly, it's not bad once you like get into it. Now, it is different. Yeah. Like it is different, especially for people who haven't really experienced it. But it is what you make it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I would say, like, I wish I could have at least done, like, I don't know if I can say a year, but, like, give me some months so I can say I experienced this. Like, I did it. But
yeah,
the food would get me.
I think everybody should experience it at least once. Like, even if you aren't a person who likes to go overseas or whatever the case may be, I think that everybody who has an idea of wanting to play overseas, I think that you should experience it at least once.
Yeah. That'll be the advice I tell my players. I'll give them that advice. As we kind of like circle back around, wrap up, I want to kind of get back into a little bit of AAU. We've talked a lot of overseas. I've learned a lot just about the overseas life. A part of this podcast really is to educate these parents, educate these players, and talk all things basketball. Sometimes the episodes is just not enough. You need weekly information sent to you on top of these episodes, so make sure you subscribe. But if you want weekly tips, weekly updates straight to your inbox, make sure you message, follow us, come on over.
And it kind of just changed my whole mindset. I was like, maybe I am really good. And at the time, I was having conversations with my family, like, don't you want to know how good you could be? Like, don't you wonder? Because in my mind, I was like, well, if I never try my hardest, I could always say, like, I ain't tried it hard. I just, like, this is what I did. But, because what if I did try my hardest and I wasn't good enough? Like, that was my biggest fear. So once I saw that and I kind of saw, like, what it looked like, I was like, man, like, nah, I want to see it. Let me really lock in. And so, like, going into my senior year, I really just flipped the switch and changed my work ethic. I still wasn't where it needed to be.
Yeah.
But
it was better.
it was a step in the right direction for sure.
It was a little bit better. Now, you was doing a lot of poetry while you was at Texas. What came about that? Why did you get into poetry?
Yeah, so I started writing poetry. So I started actually singing. I'm a preacher's kid. I can sing a little bit. My whole family sing. And
Preacher's
I want
kid out here just doing whatever, and a whole preacher's kid. Get out of here.
and I wanted to be a singer. So I used to write music when I was younger. And in 7th grade English, we learned about the diary. We read the Diary of Anne Frank, and we read Tupac's poetry. That was kind of my first introduction to poetry. And the idea of, to this day, I'm obsessed with the Holocaust because of reading the Diary of Anne Frank. And the idea that, one, a little girl's words could still be important almost a century later. And then two, that someone's words can compel a whole nation to do heinous things. It kind of just made me obsessed with words. I should have really majored in English in college. It would have been a lot easier.
I can see that for sure.
And so I just started writing poetry instead of music. And I didn't grow up in a household where it was like, at the end of the day, let's talk, how's your day, da da da. Like, I didn't grow up in a household. Like, me and my dad were like ships in the night. I woke up before he woke up. He came home after I went to bed. But if I wrote something, he had time. Like, right. Oh, I want to hear it. Oh, read it to me. And that kind of was the thing. So I started writing more. Like, it was kind of the only time like people had time for me for real. And so outside of basketball, like, that was kind of the only time. So I kept writing. And when I got to Austin, like, they have a huge poetry scene. I started going to all of that stuff and really just getting involved. And it was like, I felt like I met my community. Like, I met my people. Like,
that's so
and it's
dope.
a weird thing being like an athlete and an artist, because like they shouldn't really mix, but like I just felt like I met my community. So like in college it was basketball team and stuff, and then it was poetry. And then at the time I like had to miss something to go do a little poetry contest, and like Karen was like, you got to take Longhorn Network. And I was performing my piece. I was performing a piece confronting my abuser. And it was supposed to be like, I'm assuming they thought we was talking about rainbows and sunshine.
They did not know. It's a whole different topic.
You want to talk about it? And that became a Sports Center feature because ESPN owned on her network. And it became this huge thing. And suddenly I was like, oh, like this is my purpose. Mm-hmm. This is why I'm 6'7". This is why I got mics in my face. This is why I play ball. And that was also around the same time where I was figuring out I was good at basketball too. Mm-hmm. So it kind of was all full circle. Like,
it felt like they were always on the same page. Mm-hmm. And that was a moment where I was just like, dang, like that lady really know how to coach, like for real.
Yeah. I love it. Shout out to Coach Self. I absolutely love Coach Self. If you don't know, Coach Self is one of the greats in Dallas, Texas. Was the coach at Duncanville. And I have to say, when we were playing, nothing wrong with it now. Don't come for me. Please don't come for me. But when we were playing, it wasn't no recruiting. Like, these were all kids that lived in Duncanville. We lived in Duncanville.
I mean, high school, the landscape of high school is just so different now. Yeah. Like, I don't even think you can call it, like, it's kids from everywhere going everywhere.
Yeah, they going everywhere.
Like, it has nothing to do.
But people love to say, like, oh, Duncanville been recruiting, Duncanville been doing this. Like, now granted, I didn't win state, so I did not. They won after me, but it was all Duncanville kids. All kids.
Yeah, I mean, we all grew up together. Our parents literally live 5-10 minutes from each other. Like we definitely did. I just think nobody likes when people are winning. No. And that's fine.
No. So, City of Champs, City of Champions, and
say it again.
It came from Duncanville kids. But
Duncanville, Ariel, Texas, baby.
Yes. But we started with like what's different. What would you do different, in college? I want to end like personally with you. What would be different with Ariel, whatever, in the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh, next 3 to 5 years. Hopefully I have a more solid foundation when it comes to like business and managing my business and my foundation. I'm in love with the process of building a nonprofit. It is so hard. But I'm enjoying it. I'm loving every second of it. So I want to make sure that has really good footing and that people know about it and that it's something that people actually look forward to, the events that we put on. Basketball wise, it's prime time, baby. I'm hoping to have another ring under my belt. And
let's
I'm
do
hoping to
it.
be literally, when the conversation of like two-way players come to mind, like I will be one of the best two-way players, if not the best two-way player in this league in 3 to 5 years. No question.
Ooh, I love to hear. We're gonna come back to this episode in 3 years, and this is what Ariel said, y'all. She's gonna have that ring. She's definitely
Hold
gonna
me
be
to
one
it.
of the best two-way players. But you said something about your business. I don't want to end the episode without you talking about it. Like, talk about the
Hmm.
nonprofit. What is it? I know you got some merch too, so talk about what all you got
Yeah,
going on.
man, the merch business is tough. It's easy to put out any type of products. But I'm really aware and cognizant of the type of gear and merch I want to put out. I'm deciding if I want to put out only sports merch, if I want to only put it out during the season, if I want to do it year round. Just kind of depends on my schedule and what I'm doing and who I want to pay and who I don't want to pay. So all of that, but my main focus right now is my foundation. So basically what we do is we allocate resources to youth in DC and in Dallas. More so based in DC right now because my feet are actually on the ground here. And that's the most important thing to me, is being hands-on, being in these kids' faces, being able to talk to them and see what they really need and what they really want. And we also create entrepreneurship curriculum, which I don't know. We basically teach kids how to make money by building their own businesses and making sure that they're legal,
Yeah.
so to say. But yeah, that's pretty much what we do, and I can't wait to expand into Dallas in the next hopefully a year or so.
Okay.
Definitely gonna have a few camps and events in Dallas, but our biggest event that we have is our teacher appreciation event. And there'll be more to come on that hopefully really soon.
I love it.
First of all, I think that it is 10 times harder to get a scholarship as a high school senior now with the transfer portal because a lot of coaches that I've talked to, they don't have like true freshmen on their roster. They're going to the transfer portal first because they want players with experience. And they can get that because there are more people in the transfer portal than spots
100%.
that can be filled. So I will say it is harder for high school seniors now, I would say. Also, I think that I'm not going to say people are wrong for transferring. I will say that I think people need to be honest with themselves before making the decision to transfer. Like, are you transferring because it truly is just not a good situation? Or are you transferring because you didn't put in the work? Like, there's a difference between being in a truly bad situation where there is no way that you can be successful or thrive or accomplish whatever goals you set, and going somewhere just because you think the grass is greener. Because there are so many stories where people transferred and they're just as unhappy as they were at the previous school. So I think that people really need to be honest with themselves before they make that decision. I was talking to a guy the other day, and I was like, "Oh, like what school did you go to?" He's playing professionally overseas. I was like, "Oh, what school did you go to?" And he named like 4 schools. I was like,
Bruh.
"Oh wow!" And then like it's like at some point you like some people transfer so much that I don't know. I don't think it's the schools. Like it might be just know. So I think it starts with that honesty and just knowing like, okay, I put myself like this is the school I chose. Did I do everything that I possibly could before I just pack up and leave? Just because it's easy. Just because there's no penalty for it now.
Yes,
Because
that's the thing. It's no penalty.
yeah, before people really had to think and say like, hey, like is it worth me sitting a whole year to be able to play? Am I that unhappy? Whereas now it's just like, I'll go try over here. I'll just go try over here. And yeah, NIL makes a difference because, there are bigger pockets other places. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. And I think it's like very similar to AAU. Like directors joke every year after the first live period in April, like you see it all over Twitter, like everybody joking, like, okay, here come the club portal, like here come kids jumping from, like every year, here come kids jumping from team to team. And like, again, it's like what you said, like if it's just not a right fit, because I do believe like you have to find the right fit. Like there are some teams you go to that you shouldn't be on. But when I talk to some of these kids, like y'all done played on 3, 4, 5 AAU teams from your freshman year to your junior year, sometimes from your freshman year to your sophomore year. Like you just club hopping, and I just don't think it teaches anything. Like to me, it's showing that you don't know how to fight through adversity. Like one thing go wrong, something go wrong, you want to hop to another team, you want to do this and that, and it just leads to college, and then it's gonna lead to when you out of college, right? So I agree. I think
a pattern.
It's a pattern. It's like teach the kids to fight through something, you know, and understand why you're leaving, whether that's AAU, whether that's college. Like you said, understand why you are leaving.
But when your work is solid, when things don't go your way, you can have a foundation to fall back on. Like, oh, I'm not shooting the ball well. Like, I'm going to get in the gym. Like, I'm going to get in the gym till I shoot the ball well. I'm going to get in the gym till it works. And I feel like people overlook that dedication. Like, so many people are in people's ear and like make it so complicated. And it's so simple to me. Like, you put in the work, like eventually, like the work is going to show. Eventually the work is going to show, but you have to put in the work. Like it's very simple.
Yep. No, I love it. When did you get your first offer?
My first offer was my sophomore year.
Okay. So was that
school.
Was that Rice, or was that when you were just, okay. So Rice was your first offer. Your sophomore.
Yeah, that's when I was.
Was that your sophomore year going into your junior year, or your was that your sophomore year going into your junior year? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So like that's another thing. Like a lot of what we talking about is really like the reason I started the podcast. Like really for parents to understand, players to understand, like one, everybody's race, like everybody's journey is their own, and to run your own race. Like you finished at the University of Texas, didn't get you got your first offer your sophomore year, which is like a good time. But a lot of kids and parents think like, oh, I should be getting this in the 7th grade and the 6th grade and 8th grade. And it's like, that's far few in between at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, if I don't get this offer around this time, I'm playing for the wrong team. And it's like, no, you're just young. Like, you're just in the 7th grade.
Yes. I can't even fathom that. Because like in 7th grade, I wasn't even the player that I wanted to be and could be. Like you don't really start to blossom till like, you go through things, and like I can't even imagine getting off in 7th grade. Like
right,
what
because you're not developed at the end of the day. Like I talk about so many times, like exposure or getting exposed. Like there's a lot of these young kids that want to play in front of college coaches. You want to do this, you want to do that. And you're setting yourself up to get exposed at the end of the day. Like, your body ain't ready for it. You really want a college coach to see you in the 7th grade versus what you look like as a sophomore and a junior?
Exactly. It's such a transition. And like, I feel like that's just like just a social media thing now. Like everybody wants what everybody else is getting, but like, and I'm thankful for like, kind of growing up in the process where social media wasn't as big as it is today, because like it just allows you to focus on your own race. Like there's nothing else to look at. I mean, you just put in the work and things will come, or things will happen, the way they're supposed to happen. I like to say good things happen for good people. Like if you put in the work, then you're deserving of the good things that happen because of the work, So I like social media, like you said, like people think they're supposed to be getting what somebody else is getting, like, and that's not how life works. You get what you deserve, and you get what you earn at the end of the day.
Lord, you done gave me 3 titles for this episode. I don't know if it's run your own race, good things happen to good people, or you get what you deserve. That's it. That's it right there. Now, earlier you talked about like you had all these different offers. You knew that when you got Texas, you wanted to stay home. But like, was there anything else, or was that just it? Like, because you're from Houston. Houston could have been home.
Yeah.
Like, why
Yeah.
did you ultimately pick Texas?
I don't even remember. But going into Dallas, it was more of like, look, I'm just gonna go in here and compete, and I'm gonna do what I do. And if it happens, then it's supposed to happen. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. So I literally went in there with nothing on my mind, nothing on my shoulders, like just going in there to have fun and compete and see if I can make the team. And I think that was the best decision I made as far as like going into training camp, was just to go in there and give 100% every day and compete and guard the best player, whoever was there, or whatever the case may be. Try to be the first to do this, and that, and just try to see how hard that I could work every single day. And if it panned out the way I wanted it to pan out, then it would. And so it ended up, that was probably the best decision I made, because I didn't feel any pressure. I didn't feel like I had to make the team. I didn't feel like, I think going into LA, I felt a lot of pressure just because like I wasn't drafted. So now I'm here being able to compete, and I'm competing, but I'm trying to prove on like, oh, I can go in here and make the team, or I can go in here and, this, and that. And it kind of like, if I didn't have a good shooting day or something, it would like literally sit on my shoulders, And so I think going into Dallas is the best decision I made, just because I was carefree about it, and I didn't care, whether I made the team or not. Obviously I wanted to, but at the same time, it was just like, go in there and compete and see what you can do.
Listen, y'all hear my girl. Take the pressure off of yourself, parents, athletes. Like, take the pressure off yourself. It makes life so much easier. It makes plan. Like, you're able to just go hoop. You don't have to worry about like, oh my God, what my mama gonna say, what my daddy gonna say, or like, oh, I missed this shot, am I gonna get taken out? Like, just hoop.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's once you stop, and I know it's hard, especially, you being an athlete, me being an athlete, like we are hard on ourselves. Anybody could say this and say that, but like down, like we're the ones beating ourselves up about it. And so I was really bad at that, like I would be, if I didn't, perform right, or if I was in the gym after a game, if I didn't shoot well, this and that, all throughout college. And granted, it paid off, but at the same time, like I was beating myself down when I could have just let it go and been fine the next day, And so I think that's huge, is learning how to kind of let it sit on you for a little bit, but then let it go. Because if you hold on to something, it's just going to string along. Now that one bad game could turn into 2, 3, 4, And so that's the worst thing, is if you hold on to something, then you can't even get past it to be able to have a good game the next time. So I think take that pressure off for sure.
Yes. And how long were you in Dallas?
The whole season. So
you played one season there?
Yeah.
After Dallas, where did we go?
After Dallas, I had my son.
That's what I was trying to get to. I was like, where is the baby? Like, there is a baby somewhere in this.
After Dallas, Dallas was, and mind you, I've had tough coaches, and I'm pretty tough to get under my skin, But Dallas for me was mentally draining in a way.
Sometimes I got some sense and I act like it, but the most important thing is that, I'm a Black woman living and dealing with mental illness. I'm bipolar. I'm a survivor of sexual assault. I'm a suicide survivor. So those things come into the room with me wherever I go. That's non-negotiable for me, because when I was going through these things, I thought I was the only one in the world doing these things. And unfortunately, what I found out when I started sharing my story was so many people had the exact same one. People I had grown up with my whole life was like, man, that happened to me too. I never told somebody, or this happened to my sister, my brother. We just never talked about it. So for me, like, I am 6'7". I play this game because my job is to speak about God's power and the ability to get through these things and what it looks like. Because we don't always have authentic conversations surrounding these topics.
That literally, I just looked at my arm. That literally gave me chills. Like, that's crazy. That literally gave me chills. Oh, now, as you said, like, you're doing all these different things. You're speaking, you're acting, you're a lawyer. And you did say you have to keep the main thing the main thing. But what has pushed you? We were talking a little bit off camera, and you like, I'm still trying to get a spot. Like, I'm gonna go get a spot. What pushes you to keep trying to get this spot versus like, okay, this chapter is closed. Let me go into speaking. Let me do lawyer. Let me do all these different things.
Man, it's funny because like in LA, it's a thing where like every LA hooper, especially on the men's side, like they just never hang it up. Like, and you be like, bro, why you just bro? Come on, bro. You 37 playing in the Drew. Like,
Bro,
just it's
queen.
cool. Like, you know what I mean? But you be looking at them like, bro, like
That's a fact.
cool. And I'm like, damn, is that how people look at me?
I think you got a few more years. I think you got a few more years though.
I've been thinking, are they secretly like, bro, just give it up? Like, and I think a lot of it is ego. I won't pretend that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm better now than I was when I left. So a lot of it's frustration because like it ain't nothing basketball related keeping me out the league.
Yeah.
And that's something I gotta eat, right? That's something that I have to be responsible for. And so it's more so a personal mission. Like I feel like I'm good at basketball. I feel like I've grown as a person. I feel like unfortunately I didn't figure out that in order to be good at your job, people gotta like you. I figured that out until it was too late. I always felt like I don't need to clear up stuff because I do my job well.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it goes in the real world at all. So, I think I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to try. I probably got 2 more years of me trying to make a roster. But I'm going to try. And again, I'm happy with myself. Like if I put the ball down today, I'm happy with myself. I think I had a great career. I think I've done amazing things. I think ball has taken me amazing places. But I also know I got more.
Yeah. Nah, that makes sense. And you have played overseas. You currently, like, you just got back from overseas. Are you interested in continuing the overseas life?
Yeah, I'm not built for it to be my main hustle though.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. And again, I'm a brat.
I knew I could do hard things, but I really learned that I could do hard things at Texas. It wasn't easy because like that COVID year, it was so weird. Being in a great city like Austin, being, I was 22, 23, 22, maybe 23 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's a great city, but everything's closed. We didn't even have a locker room that year. Like
can't do nothing.
Nothing. We went to the apartment, we went to the gym, we changed in the bathroom at the gym, and we went home. Like can't eat together because of the what is it called? Contact tracing, just in case somebody pops up positive. Like it was a tough year. And it was a new coaching staff. Players that they didn't recruit were there. Just me and I think 2 other players were players that they actually recruited. So that was a challenge, just getting like the culture right, getting people to buy in, including myself. I'm not gonna lie to you, honestly. But it was challenging. But I mean, we went to an Elite Eight. Went to an Elite Eight in San Antonio, so that was special. That was really, really special. Knocking off some juggernauts along the way, so it was cool to see all of the tough times pay off.
Man, you just said a lot, and I have a lot of questions. Hopefully, I don't forget them because you said a lot in there. But one thing I want to go back to, you said Duke. At Duke, y'all was in a 3-2 zone most of the time. At Texas, it was pretty much 94 feet man to man. One thing that really, really, I ain't gonna lie, get on my nerves in the youth industry, and AAU specifically, is that like everybody think, all the coaches just think, oh, you need to play man, you need to play man. And if you're not playing man, you're not preparing kids for college. But here you are saying at Duke, y'all was in a 3-2. Like y'all ran a 3-2 zone.
Faithfully.
Every time, because we do a 13-1-3-1 or we'll run man. To me, I think it depends on the team and depend on what's going on.
Yeah.
But we're gonna hop in at 1-3-1. Like it's happening. And I never forget a game we played. A coach was like, after the game, like we won. Coaches was there, kids played well, and he was like, "You played well, you coached well, but in order to prepare your kids, you got to get them out that 1-3-1." And I'm like, it's schools and college that run zone, and I believe that zone principles and man principles can be the same thing. Like
absolutely.
So I love to hear that you said that y'all was in a 3-2 zone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, basketball, like you trying to win. So if you know a team isn't going to be able to respond to something like a zone, like why not?
Right.
And like coaches change the game plans up. Like just last week, a team zoned us professionally. You know what I mean? Like it's at every level of the game. People change it up, coming out of timeouts. Okay, we're gonna go zone. Okay, then we're gonna trap, and then we're gonna go back to like you gotta know how to play both.
I 100% agree. 100% agree with that. Another thing that you talked about was the transfer portal. You was in the transfer portal. How many years? That was what? 4
Just
years
one.
ago? No, I'm saying what was that? 4 years ago or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago.
5, yeah.
It really made me smile because like I love, like you talked about that. I think a guest before you, or I don't know, I don't even remember how I'm releasing these episodes, but one of the guests like talked about not doing that, like how she thinks that you should only focus on one sport. And it makes me smile because like I really think there's no one way, right?
No.
There's no one way. What somebody's gonna tell you, somebody's gonna tell you differently. Like you're talking about cross training, like that could be, 8th grade and below or whatever. But the fact that like you say that and somebody else say, I don't think, and it goes to say like it depends on the person. Like
100%.
Nadia Taylor played basketball for Texas and she played softball for Texas. Sarah
Professional
Hattis,
softball player.
and she's a professional softball player. Sarah Hattis played volleyball and basketball. So it can be done. You can do multiple sports. Ashley Roberts ain't gonna be able to do all these different. Like I need to just focus on basketball.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like my uncle literally forced me to do other sports in middle school. And I ran track because I was slow as I'll get out. He was like, "You just need to be fast. You need to learn how to chase something." I don't know if that even made sense, but I ran track. I played volleyball because, like, why not?
Yeah, see, I wish Daryl Roberts, like, if you watching this, like, my daddy was not letting me, Ariel. Like, I was crying. Like, I want to play volleyball. My mama played volleyball, so I wanted to play volleyball in middle school. I wasn't doing no track. Forget the running. But volleyball, I wanted to, and I tried to convince him, like, it's gonna help me be more athletic.
Right.
He wasn't having it.
Yeah.
And then when I got to Duncanville, he like, you need to run track.
Nope. Nah, remember that? He said nah.
Not doing it. But no, I agree too. I think at a certain level, you should do multiple sports. In my opinion, I think like 8th grade and below. I think once you get to high school, depending on the type of player you are, depending on what you're doing, like you got to start narrowing it down because at the end of the day, you got to specialize in something, right? Like you have to be able to hone in your skill on something. And again, that's very dependent on the type of player, the type of person, all of that. All of that is
what it is that you want to do in your future. Do you want to only play basketball in college? Like, do you want to be a dual sport athlete in college? Do you want to do, because you can't do conflicting sports, right? Because practice, right? But do you want to do track season for fun? Like, there's, like you said, there's no one right way to do it.
Yeah.
It's
and
just
then being realistic with yourself. Like, if you're doing volleyball and basketball all the way through high school and at the end of the day, you're not that good in one of them, like, you can't be saying that you want to play college for both. Like, be realistic with yourself so that you can be really good in one of them. I think that you just got to be realistic.
Yeah. No, I know. I went to my freshman year of high school. I thought I was going to run track in high school. I don't know why. Please, I do not know why. I get to like the tryout. I don't even know if anybody ever saw me. I get to the tryout. I'm like, oh, I'm trying out for the 400, right? When I tell you they was warming up, and I was like, oh, they already started. She's like, nah, everybody just warming up. I was like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, this ain't for me.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna
back
get out
inside.
of here. What? Literally went to the gym and started shooting. I was like, oh, I don't need these. I said, anybody need a pair of spikes? I don't need them.
I
Mom, we
was
gotta take them back to the store.
I was good with the miles that we had to do. Like I dreaded. Coach Self
Yeah.
used to make us do the miles. I dreaded
hmm
those. Like
Yeah.
no, don't try to get me.
So removing yourself from the mix, I think, is like one of the biggest things in supporting your child's growth in the process.
I love it. I think we ending with that. Like this has been a really, really good, great episode. Like letting
Yeah.
these kids know, one, like for me, I think I learned like and just like enjoyed like talking to you through this episode. Like I think the biggest thing is like really like letting kids see, like they can see you, like again, like you are like in that small percent that does something other than the general type of degrees, and
Yeah.
it's engineering. Like that is hard, so
Yeah.
I love like the fact that like these kids and parents can hear and see somebody who done it at the highest level. Like
Yeah.
you did it
Yeah.
playing at the University of Texas, so like kudos to you.
Thank
Like
you. Thank you.
you
Thank you.
deserve your flowers. That is very dope.
Thank
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you got up in stores and what you want to do. Which
Yes.
we'll get to that in a minute. But we end this episode with a rapid fire. So I got five things for you. As I say every episode, it's really not a rapid fire, but that's just the word that I call it. So that's what we're going with.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Would you rather play with a pass first point guard or a score first point guard?
Pass first.
Biggest ick as a player?
Missing a wide open layup.
Okay. Game winning 3 or a game winning and 1?
Game winning 3.
What? I just thought you was gonna say game winning and 1. Okay, we'll go to game winning 3. I was like, she gonna say game winning and 1. Okay. Build your 5, and it could be either 5 WNBA players or 5 current college players.
Ooh.
Or somebody did like a former. So I'll give another one. So you can do either current WNBA players, college players, or you can do 5 former players.
Okay. Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Kalia Copper, or Cooper. Is it Cooper?
Cooper.
Cooper, sorry. Kalia Cooper. Man. That's 3. Man. Jewel Lloyd.
Okay.
Dang. Ariel Atkins. I love
Okay. Okay, we're going with Ariel Atkins. Hook 'em. Shout out to Ariel. I like that. Last thing, what is your pre-game playlist like?
Man, pre-game playlist. We'll throw in some Burna Boy, some Drake, some Lil Baby. Yeah, that's hard. Lil Baby, Drake, maybe some Future, a little bit of Future.
I like this little playlist. All right, I like that. Now, we start this podcast off with what is different in a game, and I like to end with the person, with the guest. So what would be different about Joanne in the next 3 to 5 years?
In the next 3 to 5 years, I feel like I'll have my career in the right direction, where I want it to be. Hopefully I'll be starting my own business or doing my own ventures on the side. Maybe, being able to be in a spot financially and mentally where I can contribute back to my community, give back to my community, in a substantial way, of course. And I think that those are the things at the top of my list.
Okay. Well, there you go. I love it. Again, really, really good episode. If you could tell the parents, the players, one, where to find you, and just leave them with a piece of advice, whatever's on your heart.
Yeah, definitely on Instagram, Joanne underscore AT. You can hit me up whenever. I'm on Twitter, same username. Yeah, I'm super available. Whoever wants advice, whether you're, you know, playing in high school, about to go to college, anything about basketball life, anything that I've been through that could help you, I'm more than happy to share. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Any piece of advice you would give to a parent or player?
Um, just player, stay true to yourself. Um, Life is ebbs and flows. Like, don't.
Yes, we have merch available. Be sure to check out the site at itsjustdifferentpod.com to see if it's something you may like. All right, back to the episode.
It's funny that you're saying these top 10s and top 5s because, not saying back in my day like I'm old, but like back in the day, I don't remember.
We didn't do none of that.
We didn't. So for me, like, it's so crazy to see how like people are like, oh, my top 10, top 20. I'm just like, I didn't even know what top this and that. Like, how do you choose? But yeah, no, it's definitely crazy now.
Brooke, I feel like we legit getting old. Like, what? Like, I was talking to somebody else and I was like, back when we played, like, oh my God.
Oh, like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, these young kids. I'm like, I'm still kind of young. Hold on.
Right. Like, I can still get out there and hoop just a little bit. Like, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
No, but it's crazy. Like, yes, like, I feel like with that, like, they got to put out a top 10, they got to put out a top 5, and you build all these relationships with these coaches, and as a kid, it's hard. That's why I wanted to see, like, how is that for you? Because it's hard to call a coach and tell them that you're not going to their school, or they not in your top 10, they not in your top 5, whatever the case may be. So hard.
Yeah. And I think that too, it was definitely hard for me, but also at the same time, like, I had the coaches and things that were going to keep it real with me as far as like people who I played AAU, things like that. So they like told me like, look, it's a business. So like, if you don't decide to go there, somebody else is going to decide to go there.
That's a fact.
And so I think that that's what people don't understand is like, yes, like you are choosing your place to go, but also it is a business. Like, if you're not going to go there, they're going to find somebody else to go there. So wherever you go, like, okay, you still, even if you go into this college, you have to find your way in that college, like the system, the coach, this and that. So for me, it was hard, but at the same time, it was like there's a lot of people out there who are going to have an opportunity too, like, so I don't know if the Texas school that I want to go to is already trying to fill my, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that once you learn that, if you learn that it's a business before you get to college, then you'll be completely more like okay with your decisions.
Yeah, that's a bar. How tall are you, Brooke?
5'4".
5'4". Because I was thinking like 5'3", but we're gonna go with 5'4".
We're going 5'4".
We're gonna go with 5'4". So being a small guard, like, I think that's a big thing now. Every time I'm a grassroots director, and every time I'm talking to coaches, at the end of the day, they're saying, oh, we want to get bigger. We want to get bigger. You got the transfer portal. You got so much going on. It's always been hard for small guards, I feel like. But now it's even harder because everybody wants to go bigger. What was some of the things that you did to stand out being 5'4"? We're going to stick with 5'4".
Honestly, I had a crazy work ethic. And that was from just being younger and having that chip on my shoulder that I was smaller. So for me, my whole thought process was no matter what, nobody's going to outwork me. And at the end of the day, if they're wanting to go bigger or they have these recruits or you go to camps and you're playing and you see these top talent, guard that top talent. Show them why your size doesn't matter.
And so as we continue to move forward and we get the investment and we see it looking the right way, we're going to see it grow because that's just how it goes. Like, everybody don't want to watch women's basketball. I'm the first person to tell you that. I don't even watching the NBA like that unless I'm personally invested.
Yep.
How do you get personally invested? Players. You know where their stories. And that's what happens. And we're seeing that happen, especially with the rise of social media, because now they can do their own thing and have their own persona on the internet as well. So they got fans that don't even know they play basketball. They just like the girl that makes jokes on the internet or looks cute or whatever the case may be, right? And so now those two worlds are like, we're finally merging culture and basketball. And I think we've always kind of struggled in that aspect.
We can go on and on with this conversation. I absolutely love it. As we wrap up, we got to go top five. I got 5 things for you. You just answer. You ready?
Okay.
Best player you have played with.
Best player I played
Favorite
with.
player you have played with.
Ooh, it's tough. I would say favorite player I played with, I would have to say Cappie Pondexter.
Okay.
Yeah, future Hall of Famer. And I came into Chicago as a rookie on a team full of vets. Like I was 21. The closest in age was like 25. Like I was a baby. I was the only rookie. Everybody else, it was like one girl, Cheyenne Parker. She was the year before me or 2 years before me. But that was kind of it. Yeah, I was a baby. And I came in with my big old mouth, like stepping up in the front drills. And we in practice. And Cappie calls practice. She's like, hold on. Y'all letting this rookie, no offense. Y'all letting this rookie step in front of lines and run drills? Like, what y'all doing? Like, going crazy. I'm sitting there like,
oops.
And after practice, she's like, nah, you got it. She's like, I like that, but this ain't how this supposed to run. She's like, I appreciate it, but nah. And like, she was just super hard nosed, like a bucket, just different. Best player I played with, that's like my favorite for sure. I would say best would be Elena Deladon. And
you did, yeah.
Yeah, I came in after her MVP season, and I remember being so starstruck trying to meet her, but I remember being so excited to watch her work out because I'm like, I want to see what she do. Like I'm thinking, so Elena Deladon, I'm so excited to watch her work out because I'm trying to see what it looked like to be an MVP, and I'm thinking it's gonna be something crazy. She used to get to practice early and just practice her spots. Shoot 10 here going over her left shoulder, 10 going over the right. And it was just so methodical. It wasn't nothing crazy. It's probably like another 30 minutes. Like nothing crazy. It was something so simple. And I was like, dang, like that's what greatness look like.
That's it.
Right? Like it was the wildest thing. She also didn't miss a free throw the entire training camp.
Like, the simple things matter. The simple things matter. While all these people out here trying to, don't get me started. Don't even get me started. The simple things matter. Favorite college memory.
Favorite college memory. This shouldn't be a good memory, but it is. We were in practice one day, and I used to get kicked out of practice all the time. That was the thing. And I was having a bad day. You know what I mean? I was having a bad day. It was when post-injury, so my shin was hurting. Coach Mac had us yelling about something.
Mac Daddy.
Man, that's our strength coach, guys. And so someone shot the ball, and it ricocheted off the rim and hit me in the face. And I just fell out. I just fell out like I got shot. Like I just fell on the floor. Like I was.
That's confident. Not necessarily cocky, finding that balance, but very confident in what they do and what they can bring to the table. So that's spot on. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
spot on. I do want to ask, as we start to kind of wrap it up, if you had a kid playing AAU basketball, how would you go about choosing the team for them?
Oof, that's a good question. One, I would see kind of like track record, like has this program put like kids in college, and does this program care about my child more than just what they can do for them on the basketball court? Like, for example, with Team Express, I can call Coach Clarissa texted me like a couple of days ago. And
that relationship,
you know what I mean? Like, it's the relationship piece, because at the end of the day, like basketball, like yes, it's a game, and yes, it's important to a lot of people, but it's a vehicle. in my mind. Like, it's a vehicle that has opened so many doors, so many relationships. Because one day the ball will stop bouncing and you're going to have to make a decision and know what to do with it. And it's those relationships that are going to be timeless that help you along the way. So, like, are you choosing a program that is going to help your child beyond just the game? I would say. But it's easy for me to say because this is in hindsight. But yeah, like track record and then that relationship piece.
Yeah.
To me,
And
would be most important.
I think it's so hard. And like, you know, obviously people say track record a lot, right? I'm gonna come in just with that just a little bit because I do think track record is very important. But like, I'll take us for example, competitive edge. You know, if somebody wanted to come play with me 2 years ago, or what was this? Yeah, 2 years ago. There is no track record. I haven't put anyone in school, right? But I guarantee you, I can probably call any coach. And if I don't have the contact, I can text somebody. How many times did I text you, Kyra? You got this number? Who you got this number? Right? So I think it's a give and take when we talk track record. I think it's more relationships and connections, right?
Facts.
You know, because
I agree with that.
you know, somebody can look at it and say, oh, and people would say that was like our knock a lot. Oh, she ain't put nobody in school. Why would you go play there? Right. And it was solely because we never had a graduating class. You know, when you take it a step down, anything that you're building, it's a process. So most of our kids are getting D2 looks, which to me, I'm always D free. D1, D2, JUCO. I don't care where. I don't care where you're going. Like, can we get you to school for free or as little out of your parents' pockets as possible? Right. As we have evolved, as time has passed on, we're getting different levels of kids. Now we're getting some of these kids that D1 coaches are looking for. You know, I'm never gonna sell a kid to a coach like, oh, recruit this kid. And a coach, I don't expect a D1 coach to recruit a kid that can't play at that level, right? But we got the relationship, and when that time comes, it's able to happen. You know, so I do agree that track record is important, but I think what's more important, I guess, since I've been in this, is the relationships, you know, and like you said, the relationships both ways, kid and coach, director and college coach. Like, I think it goes both ways.
It's mind blowing to me half the time because they're like, and people are like, oh, like you watch college basketball, and I'm like, oh yeah, like so and so. It's like, oh, you like that school? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, she don't go there no more. Like, what?
When did this happen?
Bro, it's crazy. Even going to the Final Four back home last year, like I was just like, oh, like I didn't even know like some of the players had actually played for that team, and it was just like I was really just like, wow. Like, I mean, the amount of freedom. I mean, obviously there's still rules put in place, but I do like that there's more freedom for the players because, you know, when you think about coaches when they leave and they're just able to move on, I get it. I get it. I just hope it's for like reasons for the kid and not because like, oh, well, they said they didn't like me. Okay, did they say that? Or like, you know, do you just feel like they like them more? It's like, well, she got favorites. Everybody has favorites. It's fine.
That's that's really like low key a bar right there. Like so many coaches or so many parents, whatever, it's like, oh, you shouldn't have favorites. Or some coaches be like, I don't got no favorites. Yes, everybody has favorites. Like, my favorites are the ones who are gonna work hard, who are gonna listen. Like, everybody has favorites, you know, and it's okay.
I mean, it's human nature. Like you're in, and too, like some personalities match better with others. Like it's not like I'm a coach them all the same, you know, like it's no different from that. But yeah, like if a kid is making your life easier, yeah, they're gonna be a favorite. Like what? Duh.
Yes, of course. Yes, that is my favorite. She listens. She works hard. She follows instructions. She plays hard.
Simple. It's simple.
She does the right things. And the parents are cool. I don't have to deal with the parents. Like,
that's another thing. These parents, they don't take their kids out. Like, let your kid rock. Like,
yeah, like you said earlier, like your parents were very supportive. Like they weren't the ones like yelling at you at the games, and I think it plays a big part. Like so many times now, like the kid is having to listen to their coach. They're having to listen to, like, one, be there for their teammates. They're also looking at the sideline because they got to make sure they're doing what their mama want. They got to make sure they're doing what their daddy want. They got to make sure they're doing what their trainer that want. Like, how can they perform? Literally, how can they perform? Like, I would catch myself sometime in a game, like, I can't get mad at this kid because she's listening to 10 people. Like
10 different people. That's like boxing though. Once you get in the ring, you in the ring.
You in the ring.
Like,
you gotta go.
You just go ahead, going after.
You
Like
gotta
I've been trained by pretty much the same people my whole life, and I remember one time Coach Howard, somebody who I worked with to this day, she came to one of the games and she was just like, "You don't do anything that we worked on the game." She was like, "I specifically watch you play because these are the things that your coach is asking you to do. She wants you to get better at these things. It's okay to do them in a game." But not once was it ever on some like, you need to go score 30. Like,
Right.
if she ever said that, it was like, your team needs you to score. You're
Right.
literally passing up shots. Don't pass up open shots. You know, like it was all constructive criticism and conducive to the team. You know, like
and you
it
just
wasn't
said,
just
though,
about
I didn't mean to
me.
cut you off, but you just said,
No, it's
like,
fine.
what you said with Howard, like, she would actually come to the game and see,
Oh, yeah.
and see, okay, this is what we need to work on. Like, we just not working on random stuff. Like, to me, that's like that coach trainer relationship, whether they actually have a relationship or not. Like, you're on the same page. I'm looking at how you're using her in the game, what she needs to work on, and those are the things we're gonna work on. Like,
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
how it
that
should
just
be.
makes sense. Like, if you could like foster a relationship between a coach and a trainer, like, why not? Like, it only benefits the kid.
Yes. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave us a comment with some of your biggest takeaways. If you didn't have a takeaway, just say, I love supporting It's Just Different podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow on Apple, Spotify, and if you're not following on Instagram, I don't know what you're doing. Follow the page on Instagram. It's Just Different Pod.